And we continue to walk you towards Game 4 for Colorado State. Rams Hawkeyes in Iowa City, 2:30 kickoff Central Time, 1:35 p.m. Mountain Time. Now an opponent outlook with my guest Rob Brooks, 28th season with the Hawkeye Radio Network, 18th season as the sideline reporter. Very happy to connect with you, Rob. And, I go through your resume, and then immediately I consider the length of tenure for Hawkeyes head coach Kirk Ferentz. Those are legitimate hints that Iowa is the kind of program in which good talent wants to stick around, right?
Well, you're exactly right. Appreciate you having me. I go back to 1979. Iowa's only had 2 head coaches since that season with Hayden Fry, and then Coach Ferentz took over back in 1999. So that's unique in its own right. Most schools out there will change every 3-4 years if you have a couple of mediocre seasons or take a slide. Now he's looking for a change. Iowa's been an institution that has let their coaches ride out any storms, and it's always worked out so far. But that's unique, kind of dealing with the same person year in and year out, knowing that 99% is going to be the same the following year.
Rob Brooks, reporter, Hawkeye Radio Network. Let's talk about your workplace, the football facility. Kinnick Stadium, max capacity listed as 69,250. How close do you think we'll get to that number?
Well, I think close. It's supposed to be a really nice day, and get the 5th-ranked team in the country, obviously, but there are probably 4,000 seats available heading into today. So had about 66.5 for Kent State last week. So I'm hoping to get into that certain area, 68, 69,000. But I'll tell you what, it'll be loud. The ones that do show up are certainly vocal, just happy to be back in the stadium, right? Especially after last year. So they're pumped up. It'll feel like 70,000 for sure come 2:30 this afternoon.
Perspective from the sideline reporter as we talk to Rob Brooks from the Hawkeye Radio Network. What about field level at Kinnick Stadium is going to grab my attention because I'm down there with you?
It's the unique thing about Kinnick is you're going to see the crowd so close to the sideline. There is just hardly any room from the first row to basically where the players are on the bench within maybe 5 or 6 feet. You'll have a tough time getting back from side to side with some cameramen and other people like that. So you really feel like you're into the game. We both go other places around the country, and there's always some space, right? From the first row to the bench. You're not going to see that today. You're going to be basically the first row is going to be right on top of you.
Okay, so based on what's happening within the game, we're going to hear about it right behind us.
Potentially, yes.
Right. Let's talk about that Iowa football team. All the game notes, just pop off the page. So impressive. 3-0 this year, defeated a pair of top 25 teams, won the last 9 games dating back to the previous season, 14 straight non-conference wins. What makes this Iowa Hawkeyes team special from your perspective as the sideline reporter?
Well, we're going to find out if it's special. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think it's a very good football team. You always kind of get a sense end of spring, early in the fall, how Coach Ferentz thinks about this team and its potential. It typically takes the month of September, sometimes a little bit longer to really gel. It's a program that really plays its best football, and everybody wants to, in November, but it typically does. And it just could not afford a slow start. This year, based on the schedule, playing a conference game for the first time really since the 1970s to open up the season, other than last year when there was no conference games. A ranked Indiana team, and then Iowa State really taking over all the hype in the state as a top 10 team and going to their place and winning. I think most people thought, hey, 1-1 wouldn't be too bad. 2-2 is a little bit of a dream, but it did happen. And so now you start to think about, okay, how good can this team really be? The defense is really good. All 3 levels, sound, deep, special teams, very, very good. And then I think the question mark is on the offensive side of the ball. We see strides every single week. I think the running game's good. It's how good can this passing attack be? But this defense is special. And if you go back and really look at outstanding Iowa football teams, it's what it's built on. Outstanding defense, opportunistic, great special teams, will do enough on offense.
I like the note, less than 25 points allowed in 25 straight games for that Iowa defense.
Yeah, you think about that. That's no hiccups.
No.
That's an amazing number.
Yeah, in this day and age, right?
Yep.
With the way offenses are put together. Talking with Rob Brooks, Hawkeye Radio Network. He's the sideline reporter for the last 18 years. How about Colorado State? When you saw that on the schedule, what was your first perception of what a CSU might be?
Well, good. Obviously, I go back to the Sonny Lubeck days. I actually spent a little time in Denver, Colorado, so I'm aware of the program and certainly aware of how good Colorado State has been in the past, and I like the perspective of seeing something different. We've played Pac-10, Pac-12 teams. Now it's usually for non-conference games, head to the MAC, just a little bit easier, travel more of the Midwest, play Northern Iowa a lot, very good FCS program within the state. So I like it. I like to see different matchups, different games pop on the schedule. So I'm looking forward to having somebody different from a non-conference standpoint coming in. And really happy there's non-conference games because last year we didn't have it.
Oh, yeah, we get it, Rob. We had the 2020 season go from 13 games, cut to 8, and then 4 actually happened.
Right.
So fans of the Rams in northern Colorado and the Denver metro area should be satisfied and call it a victory that we have this college football season happening. It's a good thing.
Yeah, right.
What about you during the course of your game prep? What Rams players are on your radar?
Well, obviously your tight end has really stood out. That was one of the first things that Kirk Ferentz mentioned was Trey McBride, just how productive he has been. And I think Coach Ferentz is talking about the size up front. I mean, this is going to be a good match. I mean, this is a strong offensive and defensive line, and Iowa needs work. They've still got some young linemen from an offensive standpoint. Kyler Schott, a starter, just got back last week, played 3 series. That'll probably increase today, but need some work at the tackles because you just haven't played a lot of football. And one of the huge question marks coming in was Iowa's defensive line, and it's performed, exceeded all expectations for sure, but needs to keep progressing. And I think Colorado State's offensive line, that'll prove a next step, versus maybe what happened last week against Kent State.
Yeah, we're going to learn some things about 2 football teams. Iowa trying to go 4-0, and Colorado State trying to establish some more momentum after the win in Toledo. Rob Brooks from the Hawkeye Radio Network, 18th year as the sideline reporter, nearly 3 decades with the radio network. Hey, Rob, looking forward to working down in the field with you. We'll meet you downstairs, okay?
Yeah, appreciate it. We'll see you in a bit.
This is the Colorado State Sports Network from Learfield.